Good morning, everyone. We're so excited. We're back with Life on Purpose Live in 2023. And today we're talking about health, not just physical health, heart health, spiritual health, body health, mind health. And we have Coach Wendie, Naturopathic Dr. Wendie Pett. She's a coach. She's got a TV show called Visibly Fit on many platforms. She's got an award-winning podcast of her own. She's got one with her husband. This is her purpose. This is her passion. And we're going to learn from all the 2 decades of experience and learning that she's put into this, because we need to know how to get healthy. So Wendie, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Beth. It's awesome to be here. I love spending time with you. I've known you for many years, and this is always just fun to get together.
Yes, and we're both in Christian Women in Media, and that's how we met. And that is a great organization because we learn so much from one another, which is the way God designed us, to help each other and encourage each other. And not only that, but to teach each other things we need to know.
Amen.
So health is a big topic, and it's New Year's and everybody's like, okay, I'm going to give up, Cokes, or I'm going to give up sweets and all, the things that you say you're going to give up. But what is health from a holistic standpoint?
Yeah, health is not just the physical. It is the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions. It's all intertwined. And I think when we start to compartmentalize, that's when we start to trip up, because they all flow into the other. And when you're out of sync and not treating yourself so well in one area, it will spill over. And so it's really finding, how do I create a healthy lifestyle? It's not just about a New Year resolution. It's not just a goal. It's about, how do I live a lifestyle that is God honoring and that will allow me to live up and live in my fullest, best potential. And so it's taking steps, taking action. If you sit on the couch and just watch people do it, nothing's going to change. So you do have to take action, but it's more of a it's a conquer and layer kind of approach. Like you find one thing and you conquer it, you master it, and then you layer a new level of living, if you will, on top of that. Sometimes people get so overwhelmed with being healthy, like, oh my goodness, I can't just do all that. Well, no, you probably can't. Let's focus on, 1 or 2 or even 3 areas that you can just really conquer and make that mastered, whether it's your sleep, whether it's stressing less, whether it's learning how to release unhealthy emotions that are usually attached to unhealthy weight. There's a lot of different layers to being healthy. And so, it's a process, but it does start here, and we have to connect the dots.
Well, let's dig a little deeper on that, because you're a coach and people come to you to get a healthier lifestyle. But oftentimes you have to dig deeper in the emotional attachment to unhealthy habits. I mean, unhealthy habits are rooted somewhere.
Yes.
So what does that look like if someone's thinking to themselves, well, no, I just need to get rid of, 3 bad habits in my life? I mean, how does one seek their soul to think in terms of, this starts here? It's an inside out approach. How does one begin to layer that part of the thinking into their overall health plans?
Well, most people don't really realize or think about it as being an inside out kind of job. They just want to lose that 10 pounds or 30 pounds or whatever it is and look good in their swimsuit. But they've got to get to the deeper rooted why, because their new habit that they're looking to accomplish, and the one that they desire, will never become sticky unless they have that deep rooted why of why they would want to even have that goal in the first place. And if it's very surface and very just flesh driven, it will never last. You may accomplish it for a moment, but it will be fleeting. And so we've got to dig down and kind of peel back the layer of the onion of why you do what you do, and how to get out of the unhealthy, just the poor habit loop that maybe you've been on, because it does start in the mind. Like, how are you thinking about yourself? How are you going about caring for yourself when you feel certain emotions come about. And usually it's kind of that same cycle. And so we have to break the cycle, but we have to acknowledge it and take inventory of it first. Because if we're not aware, how can we change things, right? So
Yeah.
it's really just digging in, and it's not fun. I'll be honest. Like sometimes it's not fun taking inventory and really being raw and authentic. But when you are surrounded by like-minded people that really love the Lord and are rooting for you, just like my Visibly Fit group and the women that I coach, you feel safe, and it's like, okay, I can start to be myself, take a breath, and really be honest with myself, and not put on this air of so much of what social media puts on of having this perfect life and doing all these things, when really, no, where are you struggling? Like, let's really talk about that, because God is the one that heals. He's the ultimate physician, but also the ultimate physician with our emotions. He's the heart doctor, right?
Yeah.
Like he wants to hit us where it matters and heal our heart wounds so that we can get our physical heart healthy as well.
Well, and so let's talk about that. So God is the physician, and he wants us to have healthy hearts. He wants us to have a well-fed soul. He wants us to have optimal energy so we can live out our purpose for our lives. So what if someone's never really invited God into that part of their life because it seems so just physical? But what's a good way to start off saying, okay, I've struggled with this for a long time. Let me ask God to help me. And then what does walking that out actually look like? Because that's the big deal. That's the game changer there.
It is the game changer, Beth, and that's a great question. And I would say that everyone's journey is a little bit different, right? But there are some just practical daily disciplines that can get you to a place of hearing from God and receiving God's love and really going through the process. I really teach my patients and my clients that really health begins with the F word, and it's all about forgiveness. Because sometimes we are struggling so bad that we are not forgiving the person that maybe did something to us early on or said something to us, and it's keeping us stuck with this negative way of thinking and the actions that come with that. And then also the forgiveness that we need for ourselves, for not
Yes.
taking care of ourselves the way that we know God really does desire. And honestly, it's caused a wedge between you and our creator, our heavenly Father, when there's stuck points of unforgiveness in there. And so it's going through the process of just kind of just being raw before God and saying, hey, Lord, I love you. I'm struggling here. Help me forgive. Help
Yeah.
me. Help me
Yeah.
forgive. And then that will start to release just that rawness, and it'll allow you to start to heal from the inside out.
And it is that God can make the difference because, we try so much. If you don't address something, I mean, if you only address it in the physical without addressing it in the spiritual, it's like my pastor says, we're a spirit with a body, not a body with a spirit. Our spirit has to be well fed. And so that brings me to the topic of pain. So you had a shoulder injury, and you needed to determine your route to physical health. So that pain is an indicator where something needs to change, whether it's your heart hurts, whether it's your foot hurts, whether it's, whatever it is that hurts is an indicator of an opportunity to change something. So when you hurt your shoulder, you came up with a very specific plan for your specific injury, because this is important. It's not just a one fix all. And you came up with something that was a specific remedy to help you build strength in the area of your body that would help you. And I'm a big believer in coaches, and as are you. So how important is it to really get down to the grit and the detail of what it is that is your pain, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional, or whatever, because you need your own plan. You can't just sign up for some plan that's a one size fits all. Is that correct?
That is correct, really, because a generic program will not assist you with the needs that you need in that season and in that moment. And so in that season where I had the shoulder injury, I was already practicing and doing exercises similar to what I teach, but I was able to expand on them and create a system that, again, going through the moving isometrics and using my body as my gym, a lot of static contraction, a lot of different things that help to heal my shoulder naturally. In fact, the orthopedic surgeon wanted to do surgery and was shocked at how my body rehabbed itself. But it takes consistency. It was painful, and it's not a quick fix. And a lot of people are looking for the quick fix. And so if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to get to the real root of the pain, then you can, 9 times out of 10, you can overcome that, right? You can overcome it with that discipline that it takes to heal your body, whether it's physically or to heal your body with the emotional next steps or the mental next steps that you need to heal. So it just takes that discipline, but it takes a coach and it takes accountability, all of which I had as well. So,
So, when you think about the quick fix mentality that we have, that lose 10 pounds in 10 days, write a book in 2 weeks, there's so many hooks out there to try to convince people that you got to radically do something huge and big. And that's not always correct, because while you can commit to something and it's the long haul, it's the lifetime of commitments, but that first set of commitments begins to make you feel better quickly, right? I mean, it fuels a sense of accomplishment and purpose behind beginning to make decisions. You can't get to your end goal quickly, but you're automatically going to start feeling better, mind, body, and soul, because you're taking action. And how important is that part of it?
Oh, that's huge, because one accomplishment of even a small goal, I don't care if it's, I'm, drinking your water, half of your body weight in ounces every day. There we go. I don't care if it's just that you've mastered drinking your water every day. And that seems like such a small goal, but it is vital. It is vital that you are consuming enough water, that it flushes the toxins from your body, that it gives you the energy that you need. It reaches your body at the cellular level, because our cells are made of, 70 to 80% water. We need water. So that's like a huge accomplishment. So when you start to say, you know what, I am making great strides and this feels good, and you start to even give yourself healthy rewards along the way when you are accomplishing even small things like that are vital, then you'll start to take a next step, like even putting a plant on every plate, something green, something healthy on your plate will start to weed out the standard American diet, dead foods, if you will, and you'll just start to see it progress. It'll start to take over, but it feels good. It feels good when we're walking in a healthy way.
It really does, because discipline produces discipline, because it feels good. So I want to stop on that water thing for a minute, because this is a big deal. I mean, this could change your life radically. So your body is 70 to 80% water, I think you said, but the brain is 90% water. Right. So we are chronically dehydrated.
Yeah.
And I think that I read that if you're 20% dehydrated, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you're 80% compromised. How much is our feeling bad related back to something as simple as chronic dehydration?
Oh my goodness. So often people don't realize that they're dehydrated, and instead they think they're hungry. Right? Like they're reaching for food, and it's like, no, you're just thirsty. So really recognize and notice the signals that your body gives you. But it helps to flush toxins. Like, we need this for even healthy bowels, right? If you've got foggy brain, you might need to drink water. If you're constantly getting headaches, it could be, again, that you're dehydrated. You'll notice in your skin, you'll notice in just how your energy levels. If you start having dips in the midday, it's not because you need some caffeine. You might just need water. So stop reaching for the wrong thing that isn't going to satisfy your body and give it what it really deserves and what it really needs. Sometimes we just get mixed signals and we're just not listening to our body. And again, we go after that quick fix. So, but the water is quick and it is the fix.
And I've this last year and, you know, in recent months, I've done so much better with that, and it has made such a big difference. So let's talk about mixed signals.
Okay.
Everybody's selling something. A lot of the coaches, like, you know, they're selling a product.
Yep.
And there's a lot of misinformation out there in the health world. So how does one disseminate all of that and get back to a basic, okay, this is what God says, or common sense even, you know? I mean, because there's so many fads that are not based in facts, and I hate to see people get off on that. But what do you say to people that feel like they've got to go out and buy a bunch of products? Not that there's not some really good ones, I have some, but it's not, your diet is what you eat and what you drink, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's basic.
It is very basic, and people try to make it more complicated than what it needs to be. God really did give us all that we need to be healthy, whole, and complete. He gave us the whole foods that we deserve to be fueling our body with. Most people are in a toxic hunger state. They're like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. No, you're not hungry. You're not getting the proper phytonutrients and phytochemicals because you're eating a standard American diet. Again, going after the dead brown kind of foods instead of going after life-giving nutrients that are going to fuel you, to give you the energy you deserve, and to feed you at the cellular level that will make a difference in your life. And again, I'm a big proponent of whole food plant-based. Not everyone agrees with that. Like, I've been on this path for, 10 years as far as whole food plant-based, 20 years teaching Visibly Fit. But even when I was 20 years ago, I was not bringing in a lot of meat, right? And my goal is about getting the inflammation, the chronic inflammation out of people's bodies, because when there is no inflammation, there is no room for dis-ease in the body. And that's the goal, right? And again, everybody is different. You got to go with what, how God speaks to you and teaches you how to live. I mean, I'm not saying that mine is the only way. I'm just saying that I have results every time with my patients getting off medication and releasing the weight they deserve and desire. But again, everyone's different, right? Like, I really used to be so adamant, like, you got to do it the Visibly Fit way. And I am sometimes, just because I'm biased and I've seen the results. But again, not everyone is in this same stage or ready to take on this level of living. And so maybe just gradually, and start to listen to your body and how you're operating best. So maybe it's just diminishing meat a little bit. I think of back in the days, the hunter-gatherer days, right? Like, we didn't eat meat every day. And I think that's a misconception. Like, people are eating meat at every meal and they wonder why their body is chronically inflamed. So what if you just start cutting back and you start to notice a difference, just to listen to your body and just see, just to test it out and see.
So you don't eat meat?
I do not.
Fish?
I do eat fish. Yes, I do eat fish from time to time. And I'm a big fan of having like a symphony of nutrients. So that means vibrant, colorful, lots of plants on the plate, right? Like anything from beans and grains and beans and greens. And I just build a plate that is so colorful that my body is so satisfied that it's not craving anything. It actually diminishes the cravings. A lot of times people are like, ooh, I'm craving chocolate. And I'm like, no, your body just probably wants some more magnesium, right? So it's giving the body what it really wants instead of what you think it's craving.
So let's go to the fake foods. There's a lot of fake foods out there, and the vegan industry is a big on. I mean, I read, like, if I'm going to buy a piece of chicken, then it says on there chicken.
Right.
Then if I buy fake chicken nuggets, it's got all these ingredients. Which is better? Yeah.
You know what? I'm not a meat eater, and I would tell you chicken.
So what do you say about
And
the
actually,
fake foods that they're so much soy and so much additives, and I think people are trying to be healthy, but is that really, I mean, we're being sold a lot of fake things.
yeah. Now, I don't have a problem with soy. It's how
Yeah.
often you consume the soy and that you make sure you're getting the quality soy.
Mhm.
But it's the ingredients, like you just mentioned, in the fake foods that are causing a havoc on our bodies. And so go after kind of the one ingredient foods. It's amazing how
Exactly.
you can just start to make your own, like, I make cashew cream, right? Like it's cashews and water, and I use it as Alfredo sauce on my zucchini noodles. It is amazing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
You can do things with one ingredient foods that don't have all the chemicals and the preservatives that needs to be done for shelf life. And
Mhm.
that's what people are getting tripped up on. So I know a lot of very unhealthy vegans because,
Yeah.
Oreos are vegan.
Right.
So you've got to look at, again, real food, whole foods, and what will really nourish your body with the phytonutrients and phytochemicals it deserves. And it's not Oreos.
Yeah. Amen.
Hmm.
So for protein, we need
Yep,
protein. The best
absolutely.
sources of protein are what?
There are all kinds of sources, from beans and legumes to broccoli. You get protein out of greens. I mean, people don't realize that there's protein in vegetables, right? And so it's just kind of a misconception that you only get protein from meat. So you
Mhm.
get, again, all the protein you need from beans and legumes and broccoli and greens and certain grains. So you'll be fine with whole food plant based if that's the route you want to take. You'll get plenty of protein, and actually, most people are taking in too much protein, and it's really
Yeah.
hard on the kidneys and the liver. Hmm.
And what about the whole gluten-free craze?
Hmm.
I tried that for a while.
Yeah,
So is it really true that we're not processing wheat like we used to, so it's not as healthy as it once was?
that is very true. Yep.
Okay.
You look here compared to other countries, and their bread products, it's made completely different. Yeah, here it's just a problem, and I see more and more people with gluten issues. So it's not the same here. And so
Hmm.
making your own bread would be ideal if you're going to be consuming bread,
Hmm.
but not getting the bread from the shelf, I think, is wise.
Yeah. Food doesn't come from a box,
That's right.
and it comes
Or
from,
a
yeah,
bag or a
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, so what are the common pitfalls that people are falling into that is causing them the biggest fatigue or inflammation or things like that? What are the things people don't realize they may
Mm.
have a habit of that might could help turn things around in an easier way?
Well, I would say that there's so many disruptors with our endocrine system, right? And our endocrine system is what takes our hormones and connects it with the receptors so that those hormones can go out to where it needs to go to, our thyroid or our pancreas to release, and have the proper insulin, all these things. But a lot of times there's these disruptors, and those disruptors are happening because of chemicals in our products and in our environment. It's happening because of the standard American diet, the toxicity in our foods. It's happening because people are not getting enough sleep. It's happening because people are overly stressed. So we have to get to figuring out with our own lives. Again, it's analyzing and figuring out, okay, what's really going on, and why is my body being disrupted, and why are my hormones all out of whack, and I'm not feeling like I'm living in my best healthiest self. So what is the culprit? I would say that, again, a lot of it is people are, I don't want to say lazy, but we're busy, and it's reallocating time and understanding that you're worthy of taking care of yourself. And so it's preparing for the week. It's getting into that no excuse zone, because we could all have excuses. I mean, we all have
Mhm.
24 hours in a day. So how are you spending those hours? And if you are in a people pleasing kind of mindset where you allow others to dictate how you're going to eat, then that becomes problematic. And I see a lot of that with my patients, that they just don't want to, cause any friction with any kind of gatherings whether it's family or friends. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We have to have healthy boundaries, not to be rude, to be loving and kind, but we teach people how to how to treat us. And if
Mhm.
we're showing up in a healthier way, we just really want to help be an example, right? More is
Mhm.
caught than taught. We don't have to put it on them, but we don't have to have their agenda put on us. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the kind of the trip ups that I see a lot, is that
Mhm.
people aren't preparing. They are allowing others to dictate their food intake,
Yeah.
and they honestly don't want to be rejected, and which is
Mhm.
interesting. And I don't
Yeah.
know if you've ever experienced that or thought of that yourself, but people just want to be well received and not rejected. And food is one of those things that
Yeah, it
has a
is.
major emotions to it.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, the psychology behind it.
Well, and speaking of psychology, we have a mental health crisis in our country,
Mhm.
and people are looking to get a pill. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I've taken them myself. I've had counseling. I've had to, in crisis moments in my life, I have taken medication to get me to the next step to help me. So I'm not saying don't do medication, but we have a mental health crisis. I mean, millions of people are hurting and they don't know why. And so much of it does go back to health of the mind, soul, and body. And let's take that into purpose, because you're living your purpose. I feel like I'm living my purpose. And so many of us forget that God put us here. He's got an amazing plan for our life. And part of living out that plan is finding that perfect balance of commitment to health, uh, holistically, mind, body, soul, read the Bible, pray, all those things. So, in a mental health crisis society, how important is it to really just take a step back and say, I am worth it?
Mm. That is such a great question, and it is so important. And not just I am worth it, but start to speak I ams over your life. I
Hmm.
am a child of God. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am chosen. I mean, just start speaking truths over your life, because we are being bombarded by different forms of media, and it's very disturbing. And if that's where you're getting all your input, then you are going to be confused. It is going to feel chaotic. And God is a God of order. And so when you
Hmm.
start to feel that anxiousness and that mental health kind of wonkiness, yeah, take a step back, do some deep breathing, go for a walk. When you go for
Hmm.
a walk, you can start to release dopamine and serotonin in the brain. And those are those happy hormones. It's amazing what just being out in God's creation can do. And we are more indoors than ever. We're not getting enough vitamin D. I mean,
Hmm.
there's the list goes on and on, right? But
Right.
it's just taking that one simple step. And it might be literally taking that step by going for a walk around the block to clear your
Yeah.
mind and to clear the clutter of lies.
Yeah. And outside for me is therapy. I mean, unless it's
Mhm.
cold. If it's cold, I'm staying inside.
Oh, bundle up,
But
sister. Come on.
no, I know you in the Twin Cities. I was made for warm weather. I'll take 105 over 32 any day. But outside is therapy for me. And we're about to run out of time, but we really haven't touched on exercise. So,
Mhm.
there's these programs out there that create more harm than good, because, it's a jump in and, get so fit by doing all these things. And that is harmful to our bodies if we jump into a program that our body is not ready for. So we work up to those physical fitness goals. And like you said, take a walk, take wholesome weights, get up and move around more. It's not rocket science. You don't have to join some fitness guru, huge thing, but just
No.
eat more, eat less, and move more. How simple is that?
or eat more and move less. That's a whole nother
Mm,
topic. I talk about that because it's eat more healthy, whole foods,
right.
and you can move less. And because some people are moving too much, and that causes inflammation in their body. And I'm talking over exercising, not moving too
Yeah.
much, but over exercising. But yeah, your body is your gym. So really, there's no excuses. You can envision this. That's what Visibly Fit is all about. You can envision that you have weights in your hand and actually do slow, controlled movements with those invisible weights and build muscle, release fat, and it doesn't put stress on your joints, tendons, and ligaments. And so there's always a way to move your body, and even small spaces. So don't let not having a gym membership be a deterrent.
And there's nothing better than push-ups and sit-ups. I mean, how basic is
That's
that?
right. And squats.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
simple. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we could talk all day, but we won't because we got to go. But this has been a good look into a lot of areas I think that people really need to educate themselves on. And I think the key here is to find someone that can help with something that is really based in real nutritional facts and not fads.
Amen. Yep, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. There's a
Yeah.
lot of fads out there, and it's it's just it's money making. It's people that are being seduced into spending money that it's not going to work. So know yourself
Yeah.
well and really do your homework.
And be willing to do the work. I mean,
Amen.
start small,
Amen.
but you got to be
Got to
willing to
do
do
it.
the work. If you want to change things, you got to change things. So
That's right. That's
your
right.
website is wendiepett.com, Wendie IE Pett PETT, and we're going to have it in our in the link below. So if anyone wants to watch your TV shows, find out how your exercise programs work, talk to you as a coach, call you with a question, then
Yeah.
all of that is available on your website. And you have all kinds of resources available for people to benefit from your 20 years of work.
I do. So please come on over and check it out. And you can check out my podcast. There's a lot of great information there as well, Visibly Fit. But I do want to leave your viewers with something today, and it's a detox green drink, and it's all whole foods, right? But
Okay.
it's if you go to liveimmune.com, you can get that right away. It's a free recipe, and I'm telling you, it will help to rid your body of inflammation and detox as well. And it's tasty. Well, you may have to grow
So
to love it, but it's tasty.
do you have to grind? Is it a blender or a?
It's a blender, yep, you can
Yeah,
use like a
okay.
NutriBullet or whatever. Vitamix.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna look at that. So, because
awesome.
I'm all about the detox. That's why I'm
That's
drinking
right.
my lemon water.
That's good, girl. I love it, I love it. Thank you for
All
having me,
right,
Beth.
Wendie Pett, Coach Wendie, naturopathic doctor. She's got all the information based on real knowledge and experience. So if you have questions, then go to wendiepett.com. And thank you so much for joining us today. This has been really good. You've motivated me to dig a little deeper. I'm a healthy, committed person, but you're always trying to tweak what you can do and make it a little bit better and have a little bit more discipline, and I'm all about that. So thank you for helping me think about that.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll talk soon.